Stephanie Miller Henderson, and I am super grateful and thankful that you chose to spend a few moments with me. On this podcast, we talk about wealth and legacy every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can listen via intellectualradio.com. You can also go over to Intellectual Radio's YouTube channel, subscribe, and you can not only catch the Legacy Lab, but so many other phenomenal shows. Definitely go on over to Stephanie Miller Henderson or at the Black Legacy Lab on YouTube and subscribe there as well. I'm always doing something super nice, giving away some things. I've been giving away several 4-day, 3-night luxury hotel stays over the past couple of weeks. And so you just never know. I'm feeling really generous, and I may just grab your name, get your email address, and send you a luxury hotel stay. Listen, God did not create you nor me to just work and pay bills. So, if you are looking for a way to maximize your time and your money, I can show you how to do both in an industry that you already know, love, and use, which is the travel industry. So, if that is something that you are interested in, definitely call me today or text me at 708-658-4735. Again, that phone number is 708-658-4735. Or you can email me at kslovestorytravel@gmail.com. Again, that email address is kslovestory@gmail.com to learn how we are building wealth and leaving a legacy in a Black-owned movement based in the travel industry. Now, you all, this month, the focus is going to be on time freedom. You know, we know how much money we have, but we don't know how much time we have. And so ideally, the goal is definitely for us to make sure we're spending our time wisely because we can't get it back, right? And so when it comes to financial freedom, it is really about being wealthy in your time. Many, people are, I say this often, you've heard this often, like we live in a microwave society. And so people are always looking for a way to do something quickly. And, even though people are, you know, skeptical about certain things, as they should be, because we have lots of scams and other things happening just more frequently today. It's like, I don't even understand how so many spam callers are happening and daily getting your number. But nevertheless, we on the one hand we say, we don't want to, get caught up into these scams or a get rich quick scheme. But on the other hand, we want to get rich quick. And so I want to just put that out there that, it's really important to understand that wealthy people that have built, empires and have, been able to build a family name and have, that financial freedom, that time freedom, it didn't happen overnight. There are many business opportunities out here today where it's not a get rich quick scheme, but you can't get rich quick. But it's still some work that must be put in on the front end, that on the back end, you'll be able to coast, if you will, and have that time. Um, I've shared before, and I'll say it again, that, we spend decades on our jobs, on our careers, and when it comes to building our own dreams, we don't want to give it 2 or 3 years. And so that, that's a programming in society. It's like, look, we've been created for success, but programmed for failure. I'm going to say that again. We've been created for success, but programmed for failure. So much so to the point where you're willing to spend 20, 30, 40 years of your life building someone else's dream. And then what you've prayed for shows up at your door and it's not dressed in the suit that you thought it was dressed in. And you don't want to give it 2, 3 years. And so that, let's make sure, we're thinking on those things, we're reflecting and definitely seeking God, on what it is that you should be doing, knowing and understanding that he is the owner, the creator of time, right? And so he knows, he's omniscient. He knows how much time you have, but you do not know. So therefore, every day has to be spent with intentionality, especially if you've been blessed to be like at that half century mark, right? Like, look, like if you 50 or above, you probably like, look, I really don't have too much time to waste. So, that's something to really, really think about. Time freedom is really what many of us desire, but we just don't quite know how to obtain it. And so it looks like, imagine waking up, going to work, coming home, dinner, maybe you get a little time with the kids or your pets or whatever, then you sleep and then you repeat. And you do that for the next, I don't know, few decades of your life. That's not time freedom. Time freedom gives you the ability to spend your waking hours doing what you want to do, pretty much, walking in, whatever your God given purpose is. Oftentimes that's not aligned to the time clock. It's not, that purpose, what you feel deep in your soul, that thing that you would do um that doesn't even feel like work. That thing that you just love so much and it doesn't feel like work. That is more than likely aligned to your God-given purpose. But oftentimes we can't get there because we've had to spend 10, 20, 30, 40 years taking care of our families, right? Going to work day in and day out. Some people, you know, barely can get a vacation. I know people that have worked through their vacation. And so yeah, it's real serious out here as it relates to our time. And so I am expecting, last week, let me share this really quickly. Um on one of my business partners Zoom info sessions where we, talk about the business and travel, and we share with professionals, business owners, how they can build, this leveraged and residual income in their lives and not have to show up for every dollar that they make. One of my business partners, he shared, a very powerful story about, his wife having cancer and him having to pretty much ask for permission to be by her side. And so he just, as a man, he shares this as a father, he started to feel a certain type of way. Like, I have to be able to show up for my children, but I also have to be able to show up for my wife. And then I got on the back end, I have this supervisor threatening to take my job if I spent time taking care of my wife who has a terminal illness. And so that's the reality of not having time freedom. But because he is a business owner and has a business online and has a business that he can work from anywhere as long as he has Wi-Fi, meaning he could work using his phone, he was building this business and making income, seeing income coming in from this business, and therefore was able to be by his wife's side and still provide for his sons. And so it's powerful because you really don't know what's coming down the street or around the corner, right? Again, we're not omniscient, so we can't see around the corner. God can. But oftentimes, he prepares us, he gives us things in preparation for what's to come. but it's always a free will, right? Like you always have the choice to either do or you don't. And so again, when it comes to this time freedom, it's really that key ingredient to being able to build wealth or to be able to leave a legacy, because working is not going to get us there. If working 40 years was able, to be, it's, let me just say it like this. You have to be able to build something that you can sit and it just builds in spite of you. That's how people have built wealth. That's how people have been able to leave legacies that 4 and 5 generations later are still benefiting from. And so I often share here on this platform that we have to make sure, especially as Black people, that we're not thinking that a legacy is, oh, I'm leaving, all my nice suits and I'm leaving my nice church hats and my shoes, and that's not a legacy. Oh, I'm leaving my good morals and my good values. Okay, that's not a legacy. And so, when it comes to land, when it comes to opportunity, when it comes to money, what are we leaving behind? Are we leaving behind a will or a bill when we pass on? And so oftentimes, and I actually, want to share that, eh, eh, for the past few months I've had several people pass away, people that mean a whole lot to me. I recently, just as of yesterday, received news about a friend in South Africa who made her transition. And that I'm going to have someone to hopefully call in a bit later to share about about her and her, what she was able to do while she was here, and just how amazing she was. But I think we may have someone who wants to share a bit around time freedom. Let's check in. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for calling the Legacy Lab. Who do we have on the line? Hi, Nat Gator. Thank you so much for calling in. I'm super excited and grateful that you had a few minutes to share. So, I'm going to actually toss it to you, because this topic of time freedom started talking about this last week, and just really sharing how we know how much money we have, we don't know how much time we have. And I shared, just as I opened up the show, that financial freedom is actually about being wealthy in your time. And so now I thought about your story as that you shared last Wednesday with a bunch of, fellow business partners and guests. And it was just so powerful. So I wanted you to be able to, take a couple minutes, a few minutes, if whatever time you can, to just kind of tell the people, who you are, what you do, and, how, like, how that time freedom, that need for time freedom showed up for you, and how you were able to overcome that need because of the business that you have.
you don't have that income, you don't have that money, you're always going to be spending your time working for someone else for them to dictate how you spend your time. And so, very rewarding experience. But a couple of years ago, my wife was diagnosed with cancer, bladder cancer. She's not a smoker or anything like that. That would cause one to fall within that category. As a matter of fact, the doctor was like, I mean, it's like you being struck by lightning. Like, this is not supposed to happen to anyone like you. You're not of that age bracket or anything. And so she had an aggressive bladder cancer. And of course, that was a huge scare because it was very much unexpected. And, you know, as a husband and, you know, as a mom for her, you know, you've got the kids at the house, you've got, you know, both of us have our careers, and we're like, what in the world? You know, this is completely going to toss our world, you know, a lot and turn it upside down. And so, didn't know what so it's going to be. You know, anytime you hear the word cancer, your mind a lot of times automatically goes to, you know, death or just life not being, you know, the same again. And so when I began to, you know, process what needed to be done, because treatment had started immediately, I submitted to my job that, you know, I would need to be off. I mean, I was going to appointments literally like 4-5 days a week. And sometimes appointments may be like 2 and 3 a day. And so, you know, I shared with my managers and upper management that I would, you know, need to be out. And if it were, you know, if it were allowable, you know, I would love to continue to work from home just like we did during the period called COVID. And long story short, it was denied. And and I can't say that it was the whole management team. It was the management that's above the immediate management, and they denied it. And they were really advocating for me to be able to do it because, again, it was just going to be me having to basically take care of the children, take care of my wife, and it was going to be a lot. So it was denied, and in that sense, long story short, I had to go on leave without pay. Now, I was upset. I was upset about it because I'm like, we just did this for almost 2 years. So it's not like anything is going to be missed. That's right. And then the other part that upset me about it was I was in a position, you know, that somebody was telling me what I could do or could not do to take care of my family. And that just was not sitting well with me. So, you know, I went ahead, run that leave without pay. But I am so glad, everybody, that I started this business when I did because I did not miss a beat financially. My household did not miss a beat financially. My wife was in the hospital for 40 days, 3 times in the ICU, almost lost her life the last time due to infection. And this business consistently paid every time. Nothing was missed. And, you know, often we say, don't wait for a storm to come before, you know, you fix your leaking roof. All of us know how much money we have, but we don't know how much time we have. My wife's a chemical engineer, right? But of course, that didn't matter at that point of sickness and being in the hospital, right? Not even being able to go outside because your body was not even able to handle being outside. So confined to a bed, confined to a hospital room for that long, it's a lot. And I was able to be with her literally every day. And so while I was with her, the business was still working for me. Well, long story short, again, I know I've said that a couple of times, but now my wife was able to walk away from her job. And
Mm.
she doesn't have to go back to work unless she just wants to. Work has become very taxing for her emotionally and physically. And y'all, if you don't know, stress is a killer. It's a silent killer. And you know, she was not doing well because of the stress that was put on her from her job. And she was in management too. But it was like, listen, this is, you don't want to see your loved ones come in the house and they're stressed every day, or they're calling you almost in tears sometimes or in tears because of the stress that is going on in their job. And, so again, we're at that time freedom crossroad, right? So we had that conversation, and yeah, she was able to walk away from her job, and she's an entrepreneur as well. Walk away from her job, and truly live life, on her terms. And so, time freedom, y'all, is so important. It's so important. You want to get to a point in your life where you're able to have money chase you, and you not chase money. Because as long as you chase money, you're never going to catch it. You're never going to catch it because you're always going to be behind, right? You're always going to be controlled. You're always going to be dictated by somebody else. And so I'm thankful. And you may say, well, you said you're still working your job. Yes, I am, because I want to, not because I have to. See, that's the difference. That's the difference. I want to, not because I have to. If they did decide to let me go today, it's okay. It's okay. So time freedom is so key, and the more we can really grasp the importance of it, we will truly start to live much more fulfilling lives. Because there are a lot of people doing things, doing jobs, and I'm not bashing jobs. Jobs pay our bills, but a lot of people that are working for someone 30 and 40 years, retiring in their mid to late 60s, early 70s, and what's the average lifespan? So how much time do you have to live, right? But a lot, again, was accomplished and achieved all because I positioned myself to have the finances, was able to pay off debt, was able to purchase a vehicle that I had on my vision board. They would take it off my vision board and put it in my garage. Take vacations that we weren't able to take as a family before. All of those things, the time freedom, the personal freedom, because of the financial freedom. So that's what I have.
That's
What
so
I have. I
good.
hope
Whew.
that impacted someone in a great way.
My. Thank you so much for that powerful, powerful testimony. Um, Nat, tell the people what city you're in. What you're in. Tell the people what city and state you're in.
So I am in Raleigh, North Carolina.
That's right.
I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina.
That's right. That's
And
right.
yeah, great area. It's a great area.
Yes, yes. I am so thankful for you taking the time out to call in. When I share this, the YouTube portion, I typically stream live through Facebook, but I'm not streaming live right now through Facebook. But people can catch this on anywhere that podcasts air, or intellectualradio.com, or on YouTube. And I'll make sure I share and tag you as well, because people need to hear from real people who are still working their careers, but can attest to the power of not just entrepreneurship, but I've often shared with people, Nat, that there is a perfect mixture, just like you got like the perfect gumbo. There are like some perfect ingredients that you need to build wealth, and that leverage and residual income are two key components of it.
Yes,
And so a lot of
yes,
people miss that part. They think that, oh, well, if they have passive income, then that should be good enough. But it's not. And so you said something really profound. It's like you want to get to the point where your money is chasing you. And I'll never forget, I use this term. I heard you say it before on a Zoom. You said residual income is shadow money. And that stuck
Wow.
with me. You said it's shadow money. It follows you everywhere you go. And so I often share that with people, because that is what a lot of people are looking for, the ability to make money in their absence. Like to be able to, from year to year, just have money following you no matter what. And so that is absolutely powerful. And just thank you so much for taking some time out to share with the people. I really appreciate you.
You are definitely welcome. Definitely welcome. I mean, this is something I can talk about literally all day, because it is blessed my life in such a major way. And the thing about it, Stephanie, if I can say this really quickly, is that I wasn't even looking for it. I was looking for a part-time job. If I can be real, because that is how many of us are conditioned to get ahead is to get another job. Work two or three jobs, and two or three jobs are for two or three people, right? That time again is completely gone. And yeah, so when this was introduced to me to make it that residual income and that leverage income, it really painted that picture of freedom. And so, yeah, it's been a huge blessing through, even the loss of my mother, loss of my father, loss of my sister, all within the last. All of this happened within the last 4 years. My mom just passed away like 7 months ago, um, and this business was working and producing income when I even had to kind of take my hands off, for a time being. That's that example of residual income, that shadow money.
Yeah.
Wherever I am, that money is still there. It's
Yeah.
still coming. So get
That's
you some,
good.
y'all. Get you some.
Get you some, and blessings to you, and as you continue to honor and make your mom proud, right? Honor her memory, make her proud. Thank you again, and I'm sure I'll see you on a Zoom real soon.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Director Nat Gator. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. Take care.
Whew. He is a director in our Planet Marketing business because he has a team well over 200 people that he is helping to show how to do what he's done. And I didn't even know that his wife was able to leave her job, her career because of it as well, because of this business. So shout out to that. During the mental health months of May and June, we talked a lot about the intersectionality of money and mental health, because people a lot of times act as though, money is not all that, it's not everything, until you don't have it and you need it to take care of the people that mean everything. And so that's very, very powerful. Let's see. Great afternoon, Derek. How are you? I am fantastic. I'm wondering if this sound is going to be um okay, but I am going to first of all, thank you for calling. I've been talking about time freedom, and I thought about our dear friend who recently, just made her transition, and I wanted you to be able to come and just, share a little bit about, what the both of you, did together work wise, um and a little bit about her legacy and the things that, that you're going to continue to work on. But um listeners, I have on the line, or actually on my phone, so I'm going to try to make it where you can hear this gentleman, but he's calling from South Africa. About a year ago, maybe a little over a year ago, I met a phenomenal woman who's a pastor. We call her Reverend Regina, but I met her because as a school counselor, I often connects with individuals who are all over the globe, but looking for ways, tools, tips, strategies in order to increase the social emotional learning climate in their school buildings. And so Reverend Regina and I connected when I was working on another project, and she wanted me to assist with helping with bullying prevention and intervention in two provinces in South Africa. And so I was absolutely grateful and honored and humbled to be able to start to work with her. And she was working to bring me to South Africa in October. And then we had to postpone it, but we're, getting some things in the works. We're assessing some things and surveying teachers. And, she was going to get me and another two other young ladies there to really come and help kick off this bullying prevention um, in South Africa. And so I wanted Derek to call because he served on the board with Reverend Regina, who has now made her transition. And so, Derek, I'm going to let you go ahead and kind of talk a little bit, about who you are, what you do, and share a little bit about Reverend Regina.
Okay. Grace and peace. Greetings, women of God. We thank God for tonight. My name is Apostle Derek. My surname is Diratsahai. And in English, it's Home Enemies. I'm a senior pastor of Purpose Field Church in South Africa, around the Buitikong area. It's a disadvantaged communities. I've been working together with Reverend Regina, who has passed on yesterday around 6 p.m. South African time. We have engaged in many projects, and then one of the biggest projects that we have engaged with is the anti-bullying in schools, where we found that children were killing each other in different schools, as we were responsible for the Northwest Province and being responsible also for Limpopo Province. And then we wanted to host our dear sister Stephanie in South Africa this year, 2025. And trusting God that is going to open door for that. So now, the engagement that we have been busy with Reverend Regina, Doreen, and myself as part of the board, it is to change the scenario in schools, because of really our children are growing without the character, and then we have realized that every fighting at home, it has really affected children even at school. So this has been a burden upon Sister Regina to change the lives of many children. That is why we went to the government and then signed a memorandum of understanding with a few provinces to roll up the program. Although we had a very challenge in terms of the financial constraints, because at some time we were using taxis, and then we didn't have even transportation to go to other schools. Some items will hike in an environment that was not safe for us, but by the grace of God, we were able to touch base with more than 20 schools. And this year, 2025, we were planning to come to Tacoma, in regards to the character building process and attending the conference over there. So it was really a challenge also on our side, as the Reverend Regina faced this challenge that she was sick, not understanding what is the problem. And then we realized later that she suffered stroke. and then she was bleeding just inside her brain, and that was really difficult for the oxygen to just go straight there to the brain. So it was so difficult. So that is why we lost her yesterday. And the other thing, we are involved with other projects besides the anti-bullying project. We were involved also with the project of starting a primary and a high school, and then later to build also the university. That was the vision of Reverend Regina and myself. So we were trusting God for also the open door for funders, for investors to come to South Africa, because we were given the land by the municipality to do some few projects on that land, and trusting God for 2025 that something better will come up. And then also even her children, they've been together in supporting the program that we have been doing in South Africa, and also families and also pastors and fraternals, and being able to support the work that we're doing. And Reverend Regina was one of the missionaries that depend on God. And then she didn't have even a salary, she didn't have anything but trusting God. She once believed having one faith to say that God is the God who opens doors, God is the God who touches the heart of the people. And then this is what I can say about Reverend Regina. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I am definitely going to make sure that we stay connected and we stay in contact, because she started something along with you all, something that is very, very profound. And I know that God is going to see it through. You know, I'm reminded of the efforts of Moses, right? Moses started some things, but Joshua finished some things, you know, and so I don't believe that her work will be in vain. I was very saddened by this news. Um, just really taken aback, and you know, it's and I shared this on Facebook, that is so interesting how you can be so close and connected with someone that you really just met. You know, it's really been, like I said, a little over a year, but her spirit, her disposition, her faith in God and the work, you know, how she just wanted something better, not just for the students, but also for the teachers, and just amazing. So, Derek, I'm praying for your strength, and that God gives you, you know, the next steps on what it is that you and Doreen and all the others that of us that will be involved with this project, and just giving us exactly what we need to make sure things are successful.
Yes, yes.
God bless you. God bless you, brother. God bless you. We will definitely be in touch. Thank you. Thank you for calling.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thanks so much. God bless you. God bless you.
God bless you. Wow. So that was a pivot, but not a big pivot. And uh Derek has to, you know, we're calling through the WhatsApp because they're in Rustenburg, which is not too far from you all may definitely have heard of Johannesburg. So Johannesburg is about an hour from where they are. And so along the conversation, I talked about this last week with another young lady, a millennial who, you know, was working diligently and passed away. Reverend Regina, though, you know, was not a millennial. Um, she probably was in her late 60s. Um, but nevertheless, you know, when people are here today and then just gone the next, is still a shocker. And it goes back to what we're saying when we say, you know how much money you have, but you don't know how much time you have. And oftentimes, and this is, you know, even in Reverend Regina's case, and you hear what Derek is saying, that we're still in need of the funding for, or we need, that's part of the reason why I didn't make it to South Africa in October, because the the partnership, it wasn't for me to finance my own trip and efforts there. I'm coming as a professional, who's going to be providing services, right? My expertise in the field of school counseling and education, and they wanted to be able to fund that. And so when I tell you that the I'm really grateful for my position in my business with Planet Marketing, because it's bigger. I always share with people that it's so much bigger than travel. When you are able to, because that is not my purpose. My purpose is this other things that you were able to hear. But we often need a vehicle to get in and drive us there, right? Literally just painting a picture for you. We Because if not, you're constantly looking for funding, you're looking for grants, you got to get a loan. Imagine being able to fund your own future, your own freedom, your own purpose, right? Not having to go through a variety of processes to banks and things like that. Imagine just being able to write a check. And even if you yourself weren't the person that was doing something, imagine being able to give a charitable donation to something like this, right? One thing that happened, and that really just tugs at my heartstrings, was the fact that she had to go from hospital to hospital. And then I think they were getting ready to send her to another hospital in another city, maybe Pretoria or something like that. But oftentimes we're dealing with these things because it's back connected to that financial piece. It's back connected to that. It's going to always, some kind of way, boil down to that, because we're human beings on this earth, and we need that is a tool. Money is a tool, it's a resource, it's a tool that we need to live and move and navigate. Um, Everything. The space that I'm sitting in, it takes money to operate the space, right? So everything that we do is going to require money. And so I, again, it was I had their recall on the back end, because I did want it to be like last week where I was like, I can't even talk anymore after talking about the story of the young lady who worked, for just continually straight, and was burnt out and went home to take a break or a rest for 3 days and didn't wake up. Things like that is like, if people had the financial freedom, that that wouldn't be the case. That you wouldn't be, you know, working and so long. So you probably will hire an assistant or somebody to help you with whatever you need, so that you're not constantly having to give so much of your physical efforts to something. Because what good is that if you have a business that is not it, that you have to physically be there all the time in order for it to work and run, right? You might be enjoying it, it might be beautiful, something you love, but at some point you want your business to build and work in spite of you. And so you all, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm so grateful that spending your afternoon with me, but I hope that you're getting something from it. And definitely, reach out, let me know your thoughts and your opinions. If you are a business owner, or you have an organization, or you have an initiative that you're working on, and you want to come and you want to share, you want to be a guest, call in, or in studio, if you're in the Chicagoland area, definitely reach out to me. You can call me, you can text me at 708-658-4735. Again, that is 708-658-4735. If you are interested in being a guest in any way on the Legacy Lab, if you especially have some endeavors around building wealth and leaving a legacy in the Black community, I want to hear from you. The people need to hear from you. So I want to ask the saints to just keep, those that have lost loved ones in your prayers. I know even in the city of Chicago, um, again, with young people, we often say, oh, they left early. They had so much of their life to live because we're under the assumption that we own and dictate time, that everybody's going to live to be 90. And that's just not the case. And so over the holiday weekend, we had several young people who lost their lives. And, we had several mass shootings in the city of Chicago. And a mass shooting just means definitively that at least 4 people lost their lives. That's a mass shooting. And so that one incident where 4 people lost their lives and like 18 were injured, 3 of those young people were from my high school, from CVS. So I want to definitely um, send condolences and prayers up. Have been praying for the Cavalier community. Um, One of the young ladies was a dancing doll. And so, as a former flag girl, really had a passion for that, served as the captain for several years, took great joy in being a part of the band. I know just how much and how, supportive of a community that band life is, and, dancing and all the things. And so, definitely praying for all of the families who have lost loved ones, and especially the young people, especially the teenagers. There was another young lady, another story. And again, this is all time freedom. We don't know how much time we have. We can't say just because somebody is 15 or 16 that they're going to be here for the next 50, 60, 70 years. There was a young lady who was working with an anti-violence program. She did several things, and I forget the young lady's name, but she would cut grass and do things for neighbors, doing some outreach in the community. And like I said, was a part of an anti-violence initiative, but also lost her life as she was 16. And so, people, when it comes to financial freedom, when it comes to building wealth and being able to leave something, many of us, like families, for example, that lose a loved one suddenly, they may not have been planning for that, right? So that's when you see like the fundraisers to be able to lay their loved one to rest, or whatever it might be. If it was something like in Reverend Regina's case, to be able to fund the anti-bullying initiatives that she's starting to do in so many schools in South Africa, just profound. And there are people that can simply, like I said, write a check and fund entire programs. And so that is my goal. And I'm not stopping until I'm there. I'm putting one foot in front of the other every single day. There is not a day that goes by that God doesn't allow me to wake up and I go towards building wealth and I work towards leaving a legacy. Not a day that goes by. And so, again, I'll just leave you with my number in case, you are that person that's like, look, I don't know how much time I have. So I want to do something now. I want to work on something now. Um, this is serious. It's a serious matter. And oftentimes we pass over opportunities. We pass over opportunities for whatever reason. We miss it. There are so many people that have missed opportunities. And I can't remember the phrase. My husband and I say this often. The most talented and gifted and all the opportunities, it's in the cemetery. It's in the cemetery because so many people passed on with their gifts and their talents and the opportunities that were afforded. They passed on with them. So we don't want that to be the case. And so if you are looking for something that will be able to grant you that time freedom that you need, definitely connect with me. I have several projects that are in the works, and they are legitimate, they are credible, and we have the evidence and the blueprints to prove it. And so you can reach me, you can call me, you can text me at 708-658-4735. And again, you can email me at ksrose lovestorytravel@gmail.com. Again, that number is 708-658-4735. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning into the Legacy Lab. We will be back again next Wednesday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you so much. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, Stephanie Miller Henderson at the Black Legacy Lab. Peace. Be blessed.